There's Mr. Liston, and that's all. Did I understand that?
That is not correct. There are other people on the call.
No, but I'm saying they're all part of that team. They're representing you, right? There's
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. I think I understand. Okay, with your permission, I'd like to have Lori Carey, who I understand is online, give her testimony. She has a prepared statement on behalf of the Point Pleasant Beach Cultural Arts Committee. I saw her on the list of people who are on the line.
I'm here, John.
Yep, we'll get yourself sworn in by Mr. Galvin.
All right, kindly raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you full name for the record, spell your last name.
Lori Vicari,
Spell your last name.
V as in Victor, I-C-A-R-I.
All right, your witness, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Ms. McCary, can you please tell the board who you're here on behalf of and what you would like to tell them what you'd like to tell them?
Hello, board. I am here on behalf of the Point Pleasant Beach Cultural Arts Committee. I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a board member. I'm the secretary, and Lauren Goldfarb Edwards, who is the chairperson and could not be in attendance tonight. So Lauren and
you can't speak for somebody else, just like the last witness couldn't speak for the venerable Jim Malone.
Okay, and that I'll speak on my own. Thank you. I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a board member of the Cultural Arts Committee.
Thank you. All right, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, may she proceed?
Please do.
Thank you.
I'd like to give some background on the Point Beach Cultural Arts Committee, just to bring everyone up to speed on who we are and what we do. So our mission statement includes organizing workshops, events all year long, including poetry and writing, painting and sculpture, music, photography, children's programming, theater, dance, and film. We've been in existence since mid-2018. We work with local artists who open their studios and show our art walks, instructional classes. There are also standing art exhibitions in the municipal building in town, which change monthly, along with art competitions and much more. The committee in 2009 hosted its first gala. We brought together artists, craftspersons, and musicians with residents to enjoy a night of music, artistic collaboration, and celebration of arts in all its forms. We've also sponsored 2 juried art shows, the most current one being held virtually, which offers artists from all over New Jersey the opportunity to showcase their work, prizes, and possible sale. We've also sponsored numerous educational classes, town-friendly art-related competitions, movie nights, book fairs, and more. The committee strongly believes that the vision presented for the Gottlieb Building will enable us to continue our work in Point Pleasant Beach. The restoration of the building and its plan going forward is a vital piece of the plan for Point Pleasant Beach's revitalization, one that can only happen with the cooperation and involvement of government and the many volunteers involved who work behind the scenes to make this town all that it can be. We urge the planning board to approve the proposed plan for the Gottlieb Building so that all can enjoy the benefits of living in Point Pleasant Beach and share those benefits with everyone who visits our town, not only during the summer season, but hopefully all year long. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Anybody from the public or anyone have any questions of that testimony? Mr. Liston, are you good?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Any other public members have any questions of that? Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. With your permission, I'd like to call Patty Bernucci from the Jersey, I'm sorry, Maggie Bernucci from the Jersey Shore Chamber of Commerce. Okay. Hold up, I'm sorry. I apologize. I wrote down the right. Go ahead. You want to tell the board who you are and why you're here tonight?
Oh, well,
First, you have to be sworn. All right, I'm going to move on to Mr. Cox, and I'll get back to these witnesses with your permission. I'm sorry, I had a little internet glitch here. With your permission, I'd like to have Mr. Cox be sworn.
Yes,
Sure,
I don't see him, but I know
I
he's.
see him. He's there. And you didn't have any internet glitch. You were fine.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your full name for the record, spell your last name.
Gregory Cox, C-O-X.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we've accepted Cox's credentials a lot, often, and for a long time. Do you accept his credentials?
We do. Is Mr. Cox here as an architect, planner, or both?
I am here as an architect this evening.
All right.
Thank you. Please proceed.
No, wait 1 second. Mr. Liston, do you have any objection to Mr. Cox or his credentials?
Well, I don't know what his credentials are. I've never seen him or seen him testify. So for the sake of the record, I think you ought to place his curriculum vitae and his licensure and credentials on the record.
There you go. You get the
Okay.
Board recognizes-
Go ahead.
I am a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey for over 30 years. I'm also a licensed planner and a licensed architect in New York State, a licensed planner in New Jersey. And to refresh Mr. Liston's memory, I have testified before him in other matters, specifically most recently in Seeger. But I'm sure there's a lot of board meetings he goes to.
And Mr. Cox, your office is located where?
We're located on River Avenue, 421 River Avenue in Point Pleasant Beach, in the restored original Ocean One firehouse that we restored about 20 years ago.
And Mr. Cox, how far are you from the subject
I do want
premises?
to hear it, but I don't want.
We are adjacent to the subject premises. The property actually L-shapes around our property and another neighbor on the corner, owned by Mr. Dolan. So we're right next to it.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, do you accept Mr. Cox as an expert in the field of architecture as offered?
I do again. Mr. Liston, you have any questions or anything?
No question.
Good. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Mr. Cox, can you please tell the board your association with this application, with the project, your history with it, your knowledge of it, and then let's go from there.
Sure. We were retained by the owner, Steve Fisher, approximately a year ago, last December 2019. And we were asked to document the existing building, its conditions, how it currently sits on the site with an eye towards potential preservation and renovations to the existing building. Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
please.
that's Aaron Mills. You're going to share yours. Okay, I was trying to get mine together, but you can share yours.
Okay. There. This is the building we're talking about. As everybody knows, this is the former Gottlieb department store. It's located at 641 Arnold Avenue. And the rendering in front of you, these are the drawings that were submitted to the town and are on record. You can see that the Arnold Avenue elevation is a decorative brick front, perhaps in the classic revival style. The building was built in 1906 and it is 114 years old. As the board knows, and it has been mentioned, there was a previous proposal before the board. It was proposed to be knocked down and a new building to be built. Interestingly enough, during the approval process, a demolition permit was issued by the town, and the previous owner was in the process of knocking the building down during the approvals before anything was granted. At this point in time, the demolition process was stopped at the last minute when the current owner purchased the property. The goal of purchasing the property by Mr. Fisher is to specifically preserve, restore, and repurpose the building while maintaining its prominence and geographic and historic center of the downtown district. Shall I go on, Mr. Jackson?
Please do.
Okay. So as we can see from our submitted renderings, I'll discuss the exterior of the building first. This is the Arnold Avenue elevation, and the upper story, it's a two-story building. The upper portion of the building, this existing brickwork, is intended to remain. It's been there like that for 114 years. The intention is that it will be repaired and the brick will be repointed. There's a few missing bricks, they will be reinstalled. And new windows will be put in the existing openings. The lower portion of the building is going to be restored to, we're going to keep the existing door locations as currently exists. There's a door to a smaller store on the left side or the west side of the building. A somewhat centrally located door which actually leads to a set of stairs that goes to the second floor. This doorway and all its detail will remain. And then there's a larger door on the street that goes to the right or easterly tenant, and that will remain as well. The windows will remain. This rendering doesn't show it, but we're going to keep the gridded glass up above as well. The intention is that the existing tile, which is falling off of the building, which was not original to the building, will be removed. It will be replaced with decorative painted trim. We think that the painted trim will be more in keeping with the original style of the building, because over the years, the bottom portion of the building, interestingly enough, has had several different designs and several different configurations. So we've concentrated on keeping what is existing and enhancing what needs to be fixed. In the rear of the building, we're proposing a small addition. And this addition will, on this side of the elevation, will be a set of fire stairs and an elevator to access the second floor. And then part of the rear of the building will be reconfigured. And we're attempting to match the existing brick, as well as create some brick details by changing the color and direction of the brick to allude back to the design of the existing brick in the front that you can see here. You'll also notice the brick in the front is substantially different from the sides and the rear, and we will be attempting to match the existing brick, whoops, to the existing brick in the back. The sides will remain pretty much as is. The existing right side or east side of the building, let me enlarge this just a little bit, if I can. We have existing openings on this side of the building, which are currently double hung windows, which were in place when this portion of the building was an apartment. And the intention is to, since we're changing the use from an apartment use to a hotel use, which is an R1 use, we will be taking out the operable windows and replacing them with fixed fire-rated glass. The units will be rated for 2 hours, which will be the same rating as the wall as required by the code. And because they're solid and unoperable, they are code compliant.
Let me make sure I understand, Mr. Cox, if I may. So from a construction standpoint, from a fire safety standpoint, those windows are no different than the solid brick wall.
Correct. And they are no longer openings, they are part of the wall because they don't open. And they're fire rated just like the wall. They are part of the wall.
Thank you. Please continue.
On the other side of the building, we'll be having a similar situation with the existing openings there. So moving on to the floor plans.
Before you do that, I just want to ask you a question. You know, being a resident in town and a local business person in town, and as an architect, one who's designed many houses and structures, not only in Point Pleasant Beach, but throughout the area, do you see any merit or benefit to saving and protecting this old building, restoring it, as opposed to putting something different there?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fabulous building. It's in great shape. Later in my testimony, I'll talk about the structural aspects of the building, but it's been in service for 114 years. It certainly functions well in its location downtown as a retail use on the first floor. And the previous use on the second floor was an apartment and a dentist's office, the most recent uses, although the dentist office has been non-functional for many years. But it's absolutely worth saving, and it's a keystone of our downtown and has been for many years.
All right, thank you. Please continue with the floor plan. So in working with the owner of the building and coming up with the program and a plan, did you have an opportunity to meet with the with who will be the tenants and to design a layout that would suit their needs?
I did.
All right.
So,
Can you
in
explain the
keeping-
layout?
Sure, in keeping with those meetings, I'd like to show you the plans of the building. So interestingly enough, the existing building has a Yankee cellar in it, which most people realize originally the building had a crawl space, but there is a deeper portion of the base of the building that has headroom in the center. So we will be putting on a very small addition to the rear of the building. And what that addition will encompass is a small foyer with an elevator to allow for our accessible requirements to the second floor, and a new fire-rated stair. What I can point out on this first floor plan is there's a dotted line, and it doesn't show on this plan, but where my cursor is going, where the hand is moving, that is an existing portion of the building that will be removed and rebuilt. So the actual addition is only this little bump here and the stairs. The rest of it is currently covering the site. And what that includes is an elevator that'll go down to the basement, as well as an egress, a set of fire stairs, as well as so that's how we get down in the basement. We're going to be removing the existing basement stairs. And then on the first floor, this hotel foyer, as we've labeled it, will allow access for the hotel guests because the parking's in the back here, and Mr. Lurie will speak to that. It will allow access to the elevator as well as a set of stairs. It also allows tenant number 2, the larger tenant, to the back, to be able to get out to the back of the property, as well as access, to the basement as well. And the way the first floor is going to lay out is we'll have a smaller tenant on the left, which is this size of unit has been here for the longest time. In fact, this tenant at one point for several years was the town post office. So we've got a separate tenant here. It'll meet our egress requirements. It's got a handicap bath, and that's approximately, if I can zoom in on it, it's existing, and the size of that unit is 878.6 square feet. Tenant number 2, as you can see, sort of L shapes around to the back. We will be required to put in 2 new accessible bathrooms, and that will have, as I mentioned, access to the backyard. Both of these tenants have been here for many years. I mean, the layout of these units, and again, you can see from this plan, the Arnold Avenue entrances, we have a recessed front door for both units, and then the center door, which leads to the stairs, which go upstairs.
Will the front of the building still look and function as it has for 107 years, or whatever the number is?
Yes, it will. And we'll keep that historic facade.
I remember from the last meeting, there were concerns that some of the members wanted there to be a connectivity with the upper unit to be able to go out onto Arnold Avenue. Is that what those steps are for?
Yes, that's how the building is set up now. As you see on the front elevation, there's a single door with a nice pediment and column detail around it, which will be restored. And that door leads directly to these stairs, which are here. And those stairs lead directly to the second floor. And since we're on the second floor, the second
Right, that's a
floor
good
is,
segue.
Huh?
That's a good segue to the second floor.
Thank you
Actually,
very
let's, Mr. Cox, let's just take a quick pause for a second. Any board members have any questions so far on the exterior that you heard about, of the small addition that's being added, the downstairs layout, anything from any board members?
Yeah,
Just-
question.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, Mr. Cox, just real quick, on your front elevation, there's a notation of tenant 1, tenant 2, and I think it's tenant 3, or store 1, store 2, and tenant 3. There was some confusion. The application said that there were going to be 3 retail spaces. Your plans show 2. The board's agenda for tonight also said there were going to be 3 retail spaces. I just want to confirm it's 2 retail spaces and then the hotel on the 3rd floor.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any board members?
I just have a quick question, Mr. Chairman. I
Go
walked
ahead,
in the back today, and there's a lot of room back there, but exactly how big is that small addition that you're putting on? How many feet?
Okay. I believe that's on Mr. Laurie's plans, but I can tell you.
Mr. Laurie tells me it's 691 square feet, and he will testify to that when he gets, if that's satisfactory, Mayor Pasola.
Okay, that's good.
I just have one quick question. We've heard about the historical part of this building. Is this registered with the state, county, or the town as a historical building?
I believe Mr. Cox can address that. That's right up his alley, as it were.
Yes, it's actually been recognized by the town council as historically significant to the town history. I believe that was also noted in Mr. Satterfield's letter, that it was recognized by the council in 2013. So the Historic Preservation Commission of Point Pleasant Beach has put together a list of historically significant buildings to the history of Point Pleasant Beach. To date, we have, I believe, 45 buildings on that list that have been recognized by the council, either for the age or the condition or the location of the building. And this building was actually on the first list of 25.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board members with what they've heard so far from Mr. Cox? Mr. Jackson, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Can you please put the second floor up, explain what you've designed the use for, and go through the various features?
Okay. So on the second floor, we've designed a modern day hotel. And the operator will discuss how the hotel actually functions, but for the purposes of the conversation right now, essentially what we have are 7 hotel suites, very typical of what you might find in an upscale hotel that you might visit. We've arranged the hotel suites off a central corridor, which proceeds from the stairs on the Arnold Avenue side down a central hallway that will be lit with skylights as well as artificial illumination. And then on the second floor in the rear, we have again the elevator, the stairs, and a small sitting area for the guests. Off of our corridor, we have arranged 7 units. They vary in their configuration from a single king size bed to a double queen unit. Each one has its own bathroom, has its own small under-counter refrigerator, which you would typically find in a hotel, a closet. And we also have to have and have designed 1 unit which is handicap accessible. They will function off of this central corridor. In addition, we have what's labeled laundry, This room is intended to be used by the cleaning staff to hold various paper products, maybe some small cleaning supplies. The operator will discuss whether the laundry is going to be done on site or not. And in addition, any additional storage that the hotel might need beyond the size of this room would certainly be able to be stored in the existing basement. And that would be separated out for their use. One of the features of this layout is that the guests, although they may arrive in the back because that's where they've parked, they can certainly enter and exit directly off of Arnold Avenue, which is great because as they leave to go shopping in our downtown, or certainly go enjoy the beach or dining, they can enter and exit the building through this front set of stairs. And that's how the second floor is laid out for our hotel suites.
Mr. Cox, does this layout,
Wait, hold on.
go ahead.
So some of the key features of this change of use and this readaptation of our building is we will have an elevator for handicap access. And the entire building will be supplied with a new fire suppression system. We envision that the mechanical units for these little hotel rooms will be located on the roof, as they can be individual units. And that's pretty much the design layout of the second floor. If anybody has any questions.
Any board members? Mr. Dixon?
Yeah, the question I have is, two questions actually. Why 7 rooms? And why couldn't the rear elevator and entrance be put into the existing building instead of building an addition?
Well, we felt that it would do less harm to the existing building because this has to go down actually deeper than the current basement level because of the footing and foundation work, and that this would fit within the requirements for the sizes of the equipment and the stairs that we need. So we elected to put it on the back of the building as opposed to cutting holes in the existing floor structure, as well as disturbing the existing foundations. For example, in this area of the building, it seemed to make more sense construction-wise to put it on the back. The reason for the 7 hotel rooms was a discussion that we had with the operator, as well as the existing square footage that we had to work with.
Thank you.
Mr. Cox, with this configuration, is there adequate ingress and egress for fire safety?
Yes, there is. We have looked into the various codes that we need. Interestingly enough, in an R1 use, which is what this is, the windows that we have in the hotel rooms are not required for fire safety. It's an R1 use. You may imagine if you were to stay in a hotel, say in Boston on the 20th floor, those windows aren't going to open. It's an R1 use. The R1 use is predicated on the length of stay. Because it's an R1 use, there's a maximum stay period of less than 30 days. That's in the code. But we are required to sprinkler the building, and we are required to provide distance of travel and various means of egress through stairs. So
Why do you keep going? I'm sorry.
Okay, and what I'd like to point out is these are, as the board is well aware, these are design plans prepared for the Board of Adjustment approvals relating primarily to zoning concerns. However, we have made preliminary investigations into potential construction issues should this project be approved such as the existing structural conditions. We have had a structural engineer review this building, and we believe that it will be made structurally sound. There are some existing deficiencies, as you may expect in a 114-year-old building, but we are confident the structural conditions can be resolved. We've investigated change of use regulations, which we have to under this particular proposal. We've investigated the New Jersey Rehabilitation Subcode, which is the first code that this building goes to in the state of New Jersey. We have a terrific piece of legislation. And because it's an existing building, the building code starts with the building construction code officer for this project. I've al-